Well, that took an extra clonazepam to do, and I always need an extra clonazepam these days, and I am not at all functioning, really. And this is exactly what the people dragging me through court want to see. They want to see this. This is what they want. This is what gives them life. And I'm not pretending it's not happening to me. No. I'm not living my life to, walk around their feelings and their pleasures and titillations. That's, I'm not letting them control my life to that extent where I have to hide what they're doing to me. I went that way for quite a long time, but it's just like no help. And I've never felt so lonely in my life. I never used to feel lonely. Like maybe once a year. But I just am so lonely. But I don't want to see. I don't want to just, with my brief, reintroduction with the Comcare, which fell through because the only transitional housing that they manage is, managed on the other side by, the crooks who are dragging me through legal hell for virtually, basically since I moved to St Albans in late July and last year, and they're still going. Still going in the tenancy tribunal. They're trying to charge me for the price it costs to unclog the toilet that I was having to use to hazard to my own house, because they turned off the water to my home 6 days before I moved out. And they're trying to charge me for steam cleaning the carpet. Don't know why the carpet needs steam cleaning. That's illegal. They're going to make up some bullshit. I didn't go to the hearing. It's like, fuck's sake, man, like... the police know that they're not the victims. They know that they're not. They know that they're not. And I can't say anything about suicide because they just send cops over to abuse me. Police love it when I mention suicide because it just gives them like another excuse to come and harass me and make me feel like dying. I've attempted suicide 5 times during the course of this, and 2 of those times have been, well, there's always the ultimate cause and then there's the proximate cause. And you know, like an ultimate cause is, you know, there's a chain link of causality that, you know, makes anyone do anything, and that's what's difficult. Well, it's difficult enough in philosophy to, you know, sort of nut out, but it's even more difficult in court of law. I think partly because the judicial system's not cut out for it at all. There's some good lawyers out there and some good judges who are competent and who can sort of figure out why, and you know, and the Evidence Act very much goes into that kind of thing, like what are the circumstances that someone did something, because that bears on mens rea. You know, there is a limit to how much a human can take before they cease to be really responsible for their behaviour. And I never used to believe that I was always very firmly, you're always responsible for your own behaviour. It's like, it's actually just not true. It's not the case. It's not true in almost all cases. In almost all cases, you're responsible for your behaviour. And the thing is that you can be forgiven for lashing out or, you know, being a dickhead or whatever, but, you know, you can still, once you realise that you've, you know, made that error, you can come back and apologise and say that you were wrong. And but there are cases where it's not your fault. You weren't wrong. You shouldn't be sorry. And we know this because even if judges and lawyers don't know it or won't admit to it, humans have fucking limits. And, you know, if someone can make a victim impact statement, you know, as the, you know, the object of the prosecution, why can't the victim impact statement of the defendant be taken into account as well? You know, should be. Why did this person do that thing? And in the case of clogging a toilet, I do you think I wanted to fucking clog my toilet? I've had C. diff in hospital when I had sepsis, for fuck's sake. I was really worried. I mean, the thing is that I was suicidal, but I also, you know, there's a time and a place, and you know, dying of C. diff is certainly not a precise science, and it's not necessarily fatal in a very convenient sort of way.
I did try to die in the prison cell, the police cell on the when I was arrested, that fake arrest, that police eventually decided that they would admit to having happened, considering it was pretty impossible to keep denying it. I tried to kill myself by, I've still got the scar, by, it's not those old cuts were from a very, very long time ago. It's that breezy looking scar, that was me being as ingenious as I could, and those disgusting old toilet. I remember in primary school, and there's some public toilets where they have those little almost like tissue containers full of like tissue, like toilet paper, but it's fucking baking paper. And I took, there's a serrated edge of that allows you, I guess, to kind of perforate something. I don't know why you need to perforate little folder bits of paper already separated, but anyway, I just sawed at my arm, sawed away at my arm with that corrugated, sort of serrated card, light cardboard. It was pretty fucking painful, because breaking the skin wasn't making a cut, it was just basically wearing the skin away, until I drew enough little drops of blood that I felt that I'd opened up a portal into my bloodstream. And then this is seriously, where do I live? Where do I fucking live? Do I live in Colombia? Do I live in Russia? I mean, by Russia, I mean, what the fuck country do I live in? Where this is happening. I used my own fucking fecal matter, and I made a fucking paste to put a mask on the wound that I'd made, and it's staying a lot, and I rubbed it in as much as I could, and I put water in, and I tried to make it watery enough to enter the little gaps in my skin, and I tried to give myself a UTI in the same way, which is disgusting. And then I drank shit. I used the plastic cup I had in the cell, and I drank shit. And it probably wasn't just mine. I drank dregs of sediment fucking shit, and I wanted to be dead in the morning, or near enough, not revivable, because sepsis was what I was aiming for, septicemia and then sepsis. You can't leave it too long. For fuck's sake, man. I had a whole summer of UTIs and sepsis, and from very I fucking put my back into that one, and it was fucking disgusting, and it just shows the things that humans do when they're fucking desperate. It's the same things an animal does. I was thinking of other ways to die that I couldn't make myself do, I was thinking about like trying to crack my head open on the sink or on the bed platform. Yep. And I couldn't make myself do that. I couldn't. And I couldn't fucking believe it when I actually got the fucking nerve up to drink that shit. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, fuck, I'm actually doing this. And I did it, and fucking nothing happened. I'm like, I feel like pretty gypped by my immunosuppressants, eh? It's like, does someone want to like maybe see if I've got some antibody or something that could save the world, because I really, really tried to get very, very, very sick. And I used to really poo-poo, because, I'm an anti-feminist. And I'm a absolutely rabid anti-feminist. Rabid anti-feminist. But the reason that I'm an anti-feminist is not because, as I keep explaining, it's not because I'm because there are two elements to feminism. One is the belief that men and women should be treated equally, and the other is a belief that men and women are not treated equally by way of men dominating women via patriarchy and all bits of patriarchy, such as this fucking insane. I don't know how many feminists believe this, but there's enough who think that, I don't want to go into it. Fuck, I mean, just these insane conspiracy theories that are way crazier than anything that Christianity can come up with. And on that side, it's all the atheists who go, oh my God, you believe in magical fairies. It's like, well, you fucking believe in a boogeyman. You believe in a boogeyman, a rape boogeyman, like fucking get your head checked. But, thanks to Obama and other fucking narcissistic, he's a fucking megalomaniac. This is entrenched in our all Western culture and our government policies. We have a Ministry for fucking Women that has blatantly, and very obviously, with no finesse or panache, lied about the statistics in its interpretation section. And the interpretation was not made by the authors of the study. Like, it's just fucking mental. So I'm certainly, the reason that I'm anti-feminist is not because I think that men and women shouldn't be treated equally. It's because I think that women in the main are privileged over men. And feminists go, how can you say that when you look at the CEOs? And, it's like, yeah, because you've got a selection bias. Because, and I actually, one of the more effective ways I had to shut feminists up online was very crass, but it was actually a bit of a not a showstopper, but it was a bit of a mic drop. It's like, how many men do you think about who are the ones who are fishing your used tampons out of fucking sewers? Like, for real. You don't even see those men. Those are the invisible people. Not you, not women. Not women over 50. Men. Men are invisible. If you feel invisible over 50 as a woman, congratulations, you finally know what it feels like to be a man. That is not to say that women cannot be incredibly vulnerable in society under public policy or the butchering of its administration, or to men, because of course we can be and we are. To be equal is to not be the same, and to say that to say the truth that men, the typical man, if you were to, construct such a creature, has a worse time of life than the typical woman does. That's just a fact. It doesn't mean that some women don't have it a lot worse than some men. And but one thing that I did give very short shrift, because I've never been anti-women, I've just been anti-feminists, okay? Like, I'm not a MGTOW, although I think that's actually, in a way, I kind of am. Like, I kind of think, well, it's probably a good thing to do, because of the advantages that women have. Like, it's probably safer on average to probably avoid women just because they've got the power of the fucking state behind them. I can't say that MGTOW is not a good idea. I certainly do not enjoy conversations with MGTOW, because they tend to be fucking dickwads, but or pompous, or completely misunderstand the difference between anyway, whatever. They just accuse me of being a feminist because I'm, not partisan. I just look at the data, right? But yeah, one thing that I've really changed my mind about is about the topic of suicide, and who's the winner in the suicide competition, men or women. And I was always like, men, of course, because more men die of suicide than women do by far, by a very significant margin. Feminists would talk, well, women attempt suicide more. And I was one of those people who would always go, are you fucking shitting me? Like, we're talking about actual male fucking deaths here. And I'm looking back at myself and thinking, where were my reasoning skills? Because it wasn't an observation, I wasn't, these aren't reasoning, this isn't reasoning, observation is empirical, reasoning is rational, so you can either have rational or empirical. It's the only two ways to get information, or to draw conclusions about anything. There's only two possible sources of information, those are derived from observing and thinking. And you can't use one for the other, but they generally are used together. If one is used more than the other, it still needs the other one to sort of bind it. I think of the empirical as the observed. A lot of people call things empirical that are not empirical. They're just things that they think they've seen, and then they just put their own interpretation on it. But whatever, like, I see the empirical as bones, and the rational is the sinew and, connective tissue. You can't really have one without the other. And I think, I made a fucking real boo-boo there, because so the reasons that men are more successful at suicide is pretty well understood for established reasons, that they have more intent and greater access to lethal stuff. I guess, you can sort of link that into the Darwin Awards a bit, and you can see, the memes about, why do women live longer than men, and you see men, using just tools and, other labour-saving devices in the most retarded ways possible. Men holding up ladders which some other guy's standing on, and then he's standing on another ladder on top of that, and they're trying to put in a con unit into some sort of apartment block in the Bronx or something. And then of course, we're not talking about suicide, but we're talking about stuff that men have that women don't tend to have. And then of course men do virtually all of the deadly jobs. The ones that result in fatalities. And that's sometimes because they're taking risks, because men take more risks. And that's a big factor in their mortality. Taking unnecessary risks or stupid risks, compulsive risks, but also they take more risks because that's where if you take a risk, you're more likely to get a gain. You're more likely to fuck up and die, but those things are both true. Whereas women just tend to be a bit more inert or active in different ways. I'm not bagging women at all. I'm not bagging women, and I'm not bagging men. I think a lot of people would just stop whinging about the other sex if they just realised that we are evolved to be this way. Men aren't deliberately not seeing that thing in front of their face. They're not deliberately doing it. Their oculus apparatus is not made for that. Women are not deliberately fucking having to turn a map to face the direction that you're going into because it's because we literally just we've not evolved to have that spatial awareness, which is a sense. It's a sense that we don't have. There's a lot of the stuff, and a lot of people claiming that, men about the other sex, being manipulative or whatever, and it's like, well, if they are being manipulative, then it's kind of, manipulation's just kind of how you get what you want out of life. And that sounds psychopathic, but not in the way that manipulation means in a broader sense, that you catch more flies with honey. It's a very useful saying, but I don't know why it just like people don't want to catch flies. But anyway, it's true. If you want your marriage to work, you fucking and I learn a lot about humans from watching marriage fucking relationship videos and stuff. Not because I'm into romantic relationships, but it's just very good information for me as an autistic female, just very good information about people in general, because I think, even though men and women are very different, and a lot of the relationship stuff is pretty universal. And also, shows me how to, so if I want a woman to be nice to me, this is what I shouldn't do, so like I'm not trying to get her into bed or have a happy marriage with her, but I am trying to get her to not hate me, so it's always quite useful, so you catch more flies with honey. So be nice when you ask for something, be reasonable, maybe offer something in return, that's all manipulation. It's not toxic manipulation, but it is manipulation. It's a fucking quid pro quo. Like, you can't just go and pick something you want off the shelf socially. You've got to offer something in return, right? Some people have very toxic things to offer in return, just like, seductive personalities and whatever it is, like it's always a quid pro quo. And yeah, so men are useful. We feminists don't take into account their unpaid work. They think only looking after kids and doing housework inside the house is unpaid work. They don't think about things that men do outside of the house, and those things are often inherently very dangerous. A lot of fatalities occur at the home, falling off a roof, or I guess I don't need to go into too much more detail. So basically, men have the dangerous stuff, and men tend to have guns. I don't mean the majority of men have guns. I just mean that the majority of guns are owned by men. And a guy that, and they just have things like that they can make into, makeshift like nooses. Like, I don't want to expose, like I kind of like, even I'm not naming names, like I don't want to say anything to even indicate who he is, but like he had a big setup in his garage with a fucking sort of winchy pulley sort of thing with a woven copper cabling or something that he was basically like MacGyvering to hang himself with, and they just stopped in the act, and like just that kind of stuff. Like, I'm looking around and I'm like, I've got a really pretty sugar jar. I've got a pretty bowl. I've got a pretty dish rack. I've got some washing soda crystals. I can overdose on vitamins. I don't want to show around, but I can, probably my thumbnail, I'll put something pretty. I'll put a montage of pretty stuff I've bought lately from op shops. Like, okay, I'll show one thing. It's so pretty. Oh my god. Look at this ridiculously beautiful thing. It's like porcelain and like, I don't know, like I watched Damages, that Glenn Close and Rose Jig thriller series, and her boyfriend at the beginning, I don't think it's any go away, got fucking murdered by like it was like a bust of the Statue of Liberty. Basically, he got bashed in the head with that. With the crap. I could probably do something like that, but really I would need someone else to do it to me. I just don't. The stuff that women own just isn't very deadly. And there have been many times that I have wished that I did have something that, because the effort I have to go to fucking try to die is huge, and it's horrible. It's horrible working on a fucking project to fucking die. And I'm quite an inventive sort of person, you know, like I'm quite a good problem solver, and, you know, I am like, you know, like I grew up with MacGyver, adoring MacGyver, and, you know, I'm an Aspie, so I'm quite good at these sort of things. But it's really horrible having to fucking think of a really clever way to fucking die. I thought my attempt in the police cells was pretty fucking good. I'm amazed I didn't die. I'm amazed. I didn't even fucking throw up. I didn't get a temperature. I didn't get any kind of UTI. I don't know what the fuck. But anyway, like, I think I've sold women short. It's not a fucking cry for help. Fuck, man. Like, the worst thing in the world is waking up and, you know, either, you know, the worst thing, it's just the worst part of surviving a suicide attempt is when one of the emergency, you know, services is involved, because then you're like, fuck, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be imprisoned in a psychiatric hospital again? You know, it's awful. It's fucking awful. When I did pills the first time, waking up and then having to go back to Helmorton, like, it was, I struggle, like, that's in one of my top 10 worst fucking mental tortures, like, being in hospital going, oh my fucking God, I've got to go in the car with the psych team to go back to Helmorton. It was like, fucking, how can I die? How can I die? I gotta die now. Isn't no way I could die. It was just a fucking nightmare. So that was not a cry for help. That was not a cry for help. No. When I was starting to wake up, and I was asleep for 2 days, when I was starting to wake up, and I remember enough when I was sort of coming to bits and pieces, and, you know, it was quite dark, and there were voices, and I just saw legs and torsos moving by, and I remember going to myself, it's like that bargaining thing, you know, like that bargaining stage of grief or whatever. I don't think those stages of grief have any merit to them at all anymore, but they, you know, they're big in the 80s. You know, it's like going through the bargaining stage. No, this does not mean I'm alive. It doesn't mean I'm alive. No. That's not proof I'm alive. I wasn't very conscious, but I was doing a damn fucking fine job of fucking trying to delude myself that I had not survived. It was a fucking nightmare. It was like real fucking top 10 worst. It was like fucking, oh my God, I've got to go back into the loony bin. And I did go back into the loony bin, but voluntarily, when they discovered that it wasn't psychiatric. It was, you know, just abuse in the community, which they unfortunately couldn't really help with, but did try for a bit, but, you know, had to discharge me eventually, really, because they're not there. That's not their purpose. And I do want to survive on multiple levels, and I've discussed the level that is just purely just the human instinct to survive. It's just an instinct. It's nothing more than that. It's just it's not even thinking. It's just a machine sort of, you know, they had those sort of early robotics, which was still is pretty much as good as robotics has got, I think, where, you know, if you kind of kicked it, because they'd be like, kind of like on four legs, like a dog, kind of running around. They didn't, to start with, you know, those prototypes, they couldn't get them to stand up, but they couldn't get them to be bipedal. But, you know, people would kick them, and they would, you know, they would use surprisingly, you know, animalistic maneuvers to right themselves, you know. So to me, it's just an algorithm in me that resists. And I think that's why, you know, when people drown themselves, like, they really do have to put stones in their pockets, or, you know, do something like that, because your body, no matter what, your body will just click into survival mode, and that survival mode is in the moment, but it just seems to be a general survival mode. Like, I just think about my life, and I'm like, I can't just throw this in the trash. And I do think that I'm precious. But I suppose that's just what it feels like for anybody. Because I'm the only one who can experience my life. And I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose myself. But I've just had such agony, and it's just got worse and worse, and it's got to the point that I'm now developing anxiety. And to me, anxiety is the point where, more than depression, I think anxiety is where the quality of life is gone. Yeah. Like, the video of me looking for Tommy, it's horrible. Like, I'll have to look at the video, I'll have to look back at the video and see, but my teeth were chattering, and it's a hot day. I don't know what it is. I'll have a look, but it was probably something like 26. Maybe at least maybe 24. I'm not sure, but it was a hot day, and my teeth were chattering, and my stomach was hurting, and I was really, and I get these zaps in my head, like, and my vision judders and stuff like that, and I've had reassurance from my GP that the zaps in my brain, and it's not a medication withdrawal, but it feels very much like an SSRI or a benzo withdrawal. That's totally normal, and it doesn't mean I'm about to have a stroke. I mean, it's normal for stress. It's not normal. It's not normal. It's and certainly not normative, but it's a very well-known symptom of pretty well-established stress. And I was getting the chattering teeth well before I was starting to experience anxiety again. The anxiety's not fun, and I'm not living like this. It's different from the fear, which is just a very real fear of what's next, because there's always something horrible that happens next. I mean, like, I wrote a little bio on Signal the other day, and I close Signal every few days. I open Signal for a bit and then I close Signal, but I just said my life has been written by Larry David and directed by Rob Zombie, because it's definitely a Curb Your Enthusiasm kind of thing, with a bit of fucking absolute bonkers sort of camp horror sort of thrown in as well. And more than a bit of violence. And I've been getting really down as well, and I haven't really identified the downness, but it does seem to be something to do. I think it's connected to loneliness, and it's coming back to what I was saying earlier. It's the loneliness not for people, but for people who understand or who accept they don't understand and don't try to offer something instead of understanding, which is, it's like, no, understanding is everything. There's nothing that can replace understanding. Help does not replace understanding because it's not help. It's just shitty platitudes. And I mean, seriously, someone, and look, these are people who are very well meaning, but it's like, what the fuck do you think I've been doing for fucking 2 years, man? Like, someone asked around his group of friends and their friend came up with the CAT team. I'm like, the CAT team in Christchurch is Specialist Mental Health Services, crisis resolution, and I'm bothered by them constantly, and I've been discharged from psychiatric hospital. I'm sorry, like, can you just shut the fuck up? Like, but I used to do that too. So how can I ever expect anyone to ever get on the same page with me? I'm living in a... It reminds me of this movie I saw, I guess I was about 33 or something, and I couldn't cope with it. I was really hungover, and I was with a friend. I was watching it with a friend and her dad for some reason. Well, I mean, I know the reason. It was they were a close family. But I was really hungover, and I couldn't fucking cope. Like, I couldn't cope. Like, being hungover for me is very much like being stoned. And yeah, you can like have like hungover like giggles and silliness and even some kind of like, whoa, you know. But yeah, I can't cope with anything psychologically nightmarish, and I cannot watch horror movie if I'm stoned because it is so fucking real. And it was really funny, after my 29th birthday, 29, I'm 30, 40, am I 46 yet? I don't even know. Yeah, I think I'm 46. Anyway, it was a fucking long time ago. Wow. Anyway, a whole bunch of us went out for dinner and then had some pretty excellent pills, and that was just MDMA. It was just like, you know, really good pills. It wasn't just snorting MDMA, and it certainly wasn't just MDMA. Yeah, had some really good pills, went to Bookie Wonderland, and then we all came back to my place as planned. Like, it was all like super duper planned. Like, that's what I did. I was like the planning lady. Everyone thought I was Monica from Friends. Weirdly enough, I, you know, tested on Facebook quizzes Joey, which was weird, but yeah, no, I was always the Monica. And the best part of the party is cleaning up afterwards. So yeah, I had everything planned to the fucking hilt. So we all came back and I'd rented Happy Tree Friends because my boyfriend was into them, and not coming down off pills, no. And then I don't know what inspired this choice, but Wolf Creek. Oh, fuck, man. Oh my god, I don't know what I was thinking, but I couldn't cope. And yeah, so I can't cope with horrors, really, really nasty psychological horrors. And this was like, I was actually whimpering, and my friend was like, "Are you okay?" And her dad was like, "Is your friend all right?" And I was like, "No, I've got to go home." And I was a few years older. I was in my 30s, and she was still in her 20s. And I'm like, "I can't cope with this. I've got to go home." And what it was is like this fucking horrible fucking thing. And I think I'd seen it before or had half an eye on it previously, but it was this guy who was just basically haunted by demons, and they would be like hiding but inside us, like there would just be like this cavern of like hell that, you know, would hide behind, you know, sometimes he'd open his bathroom cabinet and it would be in there, and he was just always haunted by them. And I'm not conveying the horror of that, but it's what it feels like being me. And no doubt there are gazillions of people like me, and we're in this horrible club that no one else understands. And I know that I've got no hope in hell of anyone understanding, at least no one that I'm ever going to have the fortune to meet and interact with, because everyone is human and by nature cannot understand until they experience it. It's a horrible, horrible, fucking lonely, desperate, terrifying club. And people say, "Oh, well, you can meet people at this place or that place," and I'm like, I don't want to meet more people who are going to fucking intensify my trauma. That's not what I want. And secondly, even when I'm not fucking prone to traumatization, I mean, the crimes committed against me are now probably 20% of the problem. It used to be 40% of the problem. Now 80% of the problem is just fucking people who won't fucking be in reality with me. And I'm in a reality that they will not look at, and it's so fucking lonely. And I will fucking block people. Sometimes I just go, "I'm out and I'm going to block you, and I'm sorry, it's not personal, I just have to look after myself." And no, I'm not going to try to explain, because why would I try to explain to the 700th person? Where is the payoff for me? There is no payoff there. I'm already fucking exhausted. My brain is already damaged. I've already got 2 severe fatigue problems. I'm not here to do individual tutoring to people who don't want to learn. And then sometimes I'll fucking shout at them and fucking really blast them, and I can rip chunks off them. And sometimes they deserve it, and sometimes they don't. But of course, everyone's butthurt, and I'm the fucking bad guy. But even without that, like, yeah, I'm a fucking annoying person, because my disabilities are the worst disabilities to have. They make me fucking annoying. So people start off being quite drawn to me and quite intrigued by me and quite excited by me. But then the rest of my personality comes dragging along like a just married tin cans, and it's not so, what's that? I love this slur. What is it? It's like crazy pixie girl or something like that. It's that because there was a character trope that Drew Barrymore used to do, among others. Oh, crazy dream pixie, crazy pixie dream girl or something, just like the crazy, like one who liberates you from, but it's like, no, sorry, I'm just really intense, and I'm also very light-hearted. I laugh a lot. I do like small talk. I will small talk your ear off. I'm also very deep. I'm very intense. I'm very intelligent. And sadly, I understand more things than a lot of people do. And there's nothing to bridge the gap between their lack of understanding and what I understand, and the way that a slightly less intelligent person can have that gap bridged. Like, like you think about other people in pop culture that people go, oh my God, he's like so intelligent. And it popped into my head, why does he always pop into my head, but I can never remember his fucking name? Anyway, those public intellectuals and almost kind of pop intellectuals. It's like we can bridge the gap to understanding their intellectual gifts because there's some form of language that allows us to be carried through to understanding what they understand. But there are things that I understand that no one has the fucking respect for me to even fucking bother to try to understand, because they just assume I'm just talking shit, or being pedantic, or don't worry, you're like really like stressing yourself out thinking. It's like, I'm not stressing myself out thinking. Thinking is who I am. I fucking enjoy puzzles and figuring things out, and I like logic, and like, I can't stand people who tell me like, don't strain yourself. It's like, fucking don't strain yourself, man. Like, fucking don't go winning a Darwin Award, will you? It's not arrogant to say I'm intelligent. I am intelligent. I'm very intelligent. And there are people who are more intelligent than I am. And I know that because they understand things that I really, really struggle to fucking understand, and I fucking can't. It's like one of those magic eye pictures from the fucking 90s. It's like, I'm trying to relax my eyes enough to see this picture, but I just can't fucking see it. Like, I get the idea, but I can't see it. And I just wish more people would make that kind of effort, like I posted that thing from Dr. Joey that I had recorded off Instagram, I think, or something, and I did credit her. But, she was just talking about this dominance hierarchy of neurotypicals, and it's like, oh my god, like 2 years ago I would have so cringe, dominance hierarchy of neurotypicals, and it's like, oh my god, everything she said is fucking true. No one gives me any fucking goddamn respect. Nothing I say. Everyone just treats me like a fucking moron. Everyone treats me like a fucking moron. I can't fucking believe it. And I go into like emergency housing and, anything like that sort of social service, and people just treat me like I have never fucking lived in a house before and I don't know not to shit in the corner. It's really fucking amazing. And a Comcare woman just said, because they had a king single bed, so I had all this stuff, like I was lining up all this stuff to like prep for my new house, and so all the furniture was already there, and it was a king single bed, and it's like, okay, king single, well, I own queen stuff and I own single stuff, but I don't own king singles, so, and I'm very, very fussy about bottom sheets fitting. So I got a WINS grant to buy some bedding, and they were like going to give me $250 for new stuff, and I'm like, I'm just going to go to op shops. Like I don't want to have an outlay for a king single bedding that I'm probably not going to use for very long. And I just ascertained with Comcare they had definitely king single beds, right? And they didn't understand that I had made a decision for my fucking self, and they just said, just get the size that you want for the bed that you're going to end up owning. And I'm like, what do you mean? I own a fucking beautiful queen bed with all my other fucking nice fucking bed linen and homewares in a fucking storage unit. What do you think I just crawled out of the fucking jungle? Oh my god, like I I have Hilton bed sheets, like what the fuck are you like? Who do people think I am? I'm and like, by the way, like I don't just go and walk and buy Hilton. Like I obviously wait for sales or buy second hand and stuff, but like, oh my god, what on earth? What? I don't know why people think that people who are fucking down on their luck are fucking have been raised by fucking Chihuahuas. I just don't know. I just don't know. And I can't get through to fucking anybody. And I just want to say, like, the reason that I have been talking about being very, very intelligent is that I'm just fucking sick of being treated like a fucking doofus. I really, really am. I'm like, I am way smarter than the people who are telling me, no, 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 no. I'm like, I know, no, 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 no. And, like, I'm fucking gonna toot my own horn for a bit because okay, well, anyway, I didn't find Tommy, and I'm not sure that a quivering wreck of a woman in full-blown agoraphobia going, Tommy, with their teeth chattering, was really the right way to re-attract a very frightened cat who's been very badly traumatised. But it sure kicked the shit out of me, and that's something, I suppose. So, someone else doesn't have to do it today. I did it myself. Okay. All right, bye.